Why do I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble for making this video? Like half of you are gonna be mad at me at the end. I've been told I shouldn't do this video. I couldn't do this video. Luckily, I'm not afraid of the comment section. So here we go. Disney's newest attraction, Rise of the Resistance, versus Universal's newest attraction, Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. Which one will win at the end? Let's go inside and figure it out. Okay, before we get too deep into this video, I have a question for you and I want you to answer it in the comments below. If you were going to die and you had time for one more ride before you passed, what would it be? Would it be, say, like Space Mountain, or maybe Soarin', or the Hulk here at Universal? Let me know in the comments below. So as we take a stroll through Hogsmeade here, let me explain what's happening today. So I do this series of videos called Versus, where we pit one ride or attraction versus another ride or attraction, and we determine a winner. It's gonna be 5 rounds, and it's just like boxing. You get 1 point per round. None of the categories or the rounds are weighted, so it's 1 point per round, 5 rounds, and we'll see who wins. Now, the very last ride I've been on was a couple days ago. I took Nikki on her first ever ride on Rise of the Resistance at Galaxy's Edge. So that's the very last ride I've been on. This morning, I'm gonna hop on Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure and ride that one, and then we'll go through the categories. So the wait time is just listed at 60 minutes. I wanna hop on it, get a fresh take on everything, and let's time it. Let's see if it really takes 60 minutes. I don't think it'll take that long. And now that I have both rides fresh in my mind again, let's start with round 1, which is going to be theming. With Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, let's talk about the theming of the queue. Now, this building the queue is housed in has been repurposed for the 3rd time for Hagrid's. It was Dueling Dragons, and then it was Dragon Challenge, and has now been repurposed for Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. Therefore, I think the theming's a little lacking. There are a couple cool homages to the old ride in the queue. There's a painting on the wall that refers to the old ride, and the coolest thing that I just found out, there's actually paint chips. There is a jar of paint chips in one of Hagrid's rooms from the old tracks. The red track and the blue track, there are paint chips from the old coaster inside of a jar. That is so, so cool. I would actually say the coolest aspect of the queue is probably that room. Most of it you will be like in tunnels, like dark tunnels. So I'm not that impressed with the theming of the queue. Now, the ride itself does have some very good theming with all of the magical creatures that you're going to encounter. There is the blast-ended Scroot, which is not in the movies. It's only in the books. So that's a cool aspect. Probably the most impressive thing as far as theming on this ride, in this attraction, would be the Hagrid animatronic. But as far as theming that's really going to immerse you into the storyline and into the ride or into the attraction, I think Hagrid's is a little lacking, especially when compared to Rise of the Resistance. The theming of the queue, and really the overall theming of Rise of the Resistance, is, I think, the best I have ever seen with a theme park. And a lot of that comes down to even the cast members. They are playing a role. They're not just like pointing to the way to go or giving you information like that. They are really acting like they are part of either the First Order or the Resistance. So in addition to the visual that you get, it's the immersive acting that goes along with the queue. The funny thing is, the queue for Rise of the Resistance at the beginning is very similar to Hagrid's, where you're just going through these tunnels, but is amped up a bit with all like some of the Resistance tech that is inside the queue as well. I'll say this about the theming of Rise of the Resistance. It blurs the line between when are you in the queue and when has the ride, quote unquote, really happened. Now, there is a starting point to the ride, but I'm just saying the theming is so good, it feels like you're in the ride or the attraction the entire time. And to me, that is an amazing feat for any type of attraction. And the winner of round 1, Rise of the Resistance. For round 2, let's talk about the pre-shows. Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure really only has one main pre-show that happens before you get onto the actual ride. And there is a little scene that takes place with Hagrid and Mr. Weasley as they help put together the motorbike. I think what Mr. Weasley's doing is like he's doing some type of extension charm or multiplying charm. That's why instead of just one motorbike, there's like 7 that you get to ride on. So that is the main pre-show for Hagrid. Now let's take a quick little peek at it.
Oh, blimey, you've done it, Arthur. That Dragonfire could not have been smoother. Well, apart from me, you know.
Yes, well, that's not quite how that's supposed to work. Everyone all right? Let's leave this to me. Aquamenti! Oh, fine. No. We'll be there.
Rise of the Resistance, on the other hand, has multiple pre-shows before you actually set foot inside the actual ride vehicle. The first of those pre-shows happens when you enter a little room that features BB-8 and Ray.
BB-8, is everyone assembled? Good. Should we be in flight prep? Recruits, thank you for joining the cause. A covert resistance team led by my friend Finn has infiltrated a First Order Star Destroyer that is now headed to this system. Your outpost on Batu is no longer safe. We have transports waiting to take you to General Organa's secret base on Pucara.
The next pre-show is going to happen when you step into the transport. This is, once again, it kind of blurs the line between, is this a pre-show or is this actually the start of the attraction? There'll be a scene where you're in the transport, you can actually feel it moving, the transport, and then you're going to get captured by the First Order, and then you step into a room with dozens of stormtroopers. Again, I consider this part of the pre-show, but it does blur the line between when the attraction officially starts and when you're just in the queue and in the pre-show area. Over the top pre-shows for Rise of the Resistance. I will say the best pre-shows I've ever seen on an attraction. And the winner of round 2, Rise of the Resistance, again. Time for round 3, time to talk about the thrills. The thrills round. Now this is the round where I'm gonna get pushback in the comments saying that the rides are too different. It's like comparing apples and oranges. Rise of the Resistance, I would say, provides more emotional or mental thrills than Hagrid's does. There is one big physical thrill in Rise of the Resistance that's at the very end when you get into an escape pod and you drop out of the Star Destroyer and you shuttle away from it, you speed away from it. That is a very good physical thrill combined with a visual thrill. Very impressed with this aspect of Rise of the Resistance. Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, being a roller coaster, provides way more physical thrills, is a way more thrilling ride than Rise of the Resistance. With this coaster, you're going to get 7 launches. One of them is backwards. That's right, you're going to go up this incline and then you're going to fall back, and as you're falling back, there will be a backwards launch. That is amazing. Also amazing, there is a drop on this ride. So with the 7 launches, the backwards section, the spiral that takes you way up in the air, the drop that occurs on this ride, the speed you're going to encounter, and the G-forces that are going to take an effect on your body, of course, this is a very thrilling ride. And for those reasons, Hagrid wins the round and the points for round 3. I'm actually back in line for Hagrid's right now. So round 4 is going to be rewritability. We're going to look at rewritability in 2 ways. The first is what I just did. As I was filming, I noticed the standby wait time went down to 45 minutes, which I know 9 times out of 10 it's going to be quicker than the posted wait time. I did it in 30 minutes. So I've done 2 rides of Hagrid's today. Now currently, the way they have Rise of the Resistance set up, there's no way you're going to be able to ride that attraction twice in one day. In fact, it's very hard to get a boarding pass. About 2 hours after the gates open, there are usually out of boarding passes. Now in the future, they will open up Rise of the Resistance to have a standby and a fast pass, but they do not currently. Even when they do open it up that way, I anticipate this ride will be much like the Flight of Passage in Pandora. There was, I would say, the minimum wait would be like 180 minutes, but oftentimes it will be longer than that. So it's gonna be very, very hard to get multiple rides in on Rise of the Resistance, even going forward in the future. And the other thing I mean by re-rideability is how many times can you ride it and not get tired of it? Now I know if you're visiting just like once a year, you're not going to get tired of these rides. But if you're like me and you're able to go anytime you want to, what ride is more re-rideable? I would say it's the one that's going to provide the physical thrills, the G-forces, the speed. And while Rise of the Resistance does offer some physical thrills, it's mainly a visual. You're riding in a cart, looking at animatronics and looking at screens. Looking at animatronics, looking at screens. There are some special effects in there, but in my opinion, it's easier to get tired of a ride that is mainly just looking at stuff. And with a roller coaster, you're not going to have that. You're always like, are you going to get tired? Is an astronaut going to get tired of going in a rocket into space? You're going to feel the speed and you're going to feel the G-forces no matter how many times you go on it. And what can I say? I am kind of a roller coaster guy. And for those reasons, Hagrid takes the round and the point for round 4. We have a tie ball game, folks. Not quite at the end yet, guys. You're almost there, though. I want to remind you, click that subscribe button and that bell notification button so you'll know when another video is ready for you to view. And that brings us to the 5th and final round, what to do. And as longtime viewers know, a lot of times this will come down to fan vote. So I did do a poll on my IG. Let's see what the results were. But before we look at the results, a quick reminder to follow me on IG. If you haven't done so already, please do so. And by a score of almost 3-1, my IG followers prefer Hagrid's to Rise of the Resistance if that was the last ride they would ever be able to ride in their life. But does that mean Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure gets the point for round 5? No, it doesn't. I'm throwing out the fan vote. I'm going to man up and determine a winner myself. So it all comes down to me. I will answer the question that I posed to you at the beginning of this video. If I was dying and I had the chance to ride one more ride, what would it be? Rise of the Resistance or Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure? I would choose Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. So now we have a winner between the two newest attractions in Orlando. Rise of the Resistance versus Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. Hagrid's barely won. But again, in the comments below, please leave a comment. If you only had one more ride to ride, what would it be? Hagrid's, Rise of the Resistance, Space Mountain? You let me know in the comments below. And with that being said, don't miss the magic, don't miss the fun. Thanks for watching Rick Flix. And now it's time to relax. Or take another turn on Hagrid's.